I've been married to Matilda for 16 years. We got 7 kids, 4 boys, 3 girls, and I work as a mechanic to keep the bills paid. My hands are always greasy, my back's always sore, but I don't complain. The house is small, the kids are loud, and life's a grind. I thought we were solid, me and her, a team holding it together. That was before I found the sock. It was a Tuesday evening, sun already down, when I walked in from the shop. The living room was quieter than usual. No screaming, no fighting over the remote. Matilda sat on the couch, folding laundry, her hands moving fast, almost jittery. I asked where the kids were. She said upstairs, playing. I nodded, dropped my toolbox by the door, and headed to the kitchen for a beer. That's when I saw it on the floor, a blue-striped sock, too big for the kids, not one of mine. I were plain black ones, always have. I picked it up, turned it over in my hands, felt something heavy settle in my chest. It wasn't much, just a sock, but it didn't belong. I stuffed it in my pocket, grabbed my beer, and sat across from her. She didn't look up, just kept folding shirts, her lips tight. I asked how her day was. She said fine. I asked if she needed anything. She said no. We didn't talk more than that. I watched her, the way her hair fell over her face, the way her fingers twitched. I went to bed with the sock still in my pocket, lying awake while she slept next to me, her breathing even like nothing was wrong. The next day, I didn't bring it up. Went to work, fixed a busted alternator, listened to the guys at the shop talk about their lives. I nodded along, kept quiet, but my mind was on that sock. Got home at 6:30, same as always, and the house was back to normal. Kids running around, Matilda in the kitchen stirring something. I checked the laundry basket later, thinking maybe the sock would turn up, but it didn't. Checked the trash too. Nothing. It was like it had disappeared, and I started wondering if I'd imagined it. But I hadn't. I knew I hadn't. It was real, and it was the first thing that didn't fit. Over the next few days, I started watching closer. Not obvious. I didn't want her to notice. I'd ask the same questions every night. How was your day? What do the kids do? She'd give the same answers. Fine. They played. Nothing new, but there were cracks. Thursday night, Tommy, the oldest, said something about a man who came by to fix the sink. I frowned, asked what he meant. Matilda jumped in fast, said it was just the plumber, a leak under the kitchen. I nodded, but I knew that sink was fine. I'd fixed it myself last year. Tommy shrugged, went back to his game. Matilda turned to the dishes, her back to me, and I sat there, staring, feeling that weight grow. By Friday, it was eating at me. The sock, Tommy's comment, the way she'd look away if I held her gaze too long, it was adding up. I decided to test her. Told her I'd be working late Saturday, a big job at the shop, wouldn't be home till 9. She didn't blink, just said okay, told me to drive safe. Saturday morning, I left like usual, kissed her on the cheek, drove off. But I didn't go to work. Parked 3 streets over, walked back through the alley, and hid behind the shed in the backyard. Stood there 2 hours, watching the house through the bushes. At 11, a truck pulled up, black Ford, dented tailgate. A man got out, tall, broad, baseball cap, knocked once, and Matilda let him in. My hands balled into fists, and I stayed there, counting the minutes, waiting to see what happened next. He didn't leave for 3 hours. I stood the whole time, legs stiff, eyes locked on the door. The kids' voices came through the window, laughing, yelling, mixed with Matilda's, sharp when she hushed them, softer when she spoke to him. I couldn't hear his voice, just hers. At 2, he stepped out. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, said something low. He nodded, got in his truck, drove off. I memorized the plate. JHK 4923. She closed the door, and I waited 20 minutes more, making sure he was gone. Then I walked to my car, drove to the shop, sat in the break room till 9, and went home like nothing happened. When I got home, Matilda was in the kitchen heating up leftovers. The kids were scattered around the living room, some asleep on the couch, some staring at the TV, the glow flickering across their faces. I dropped my toolbox by the door, asked how her day was. She said fine, nothing special. I asked if anything happened. She said no, just the usual mess with 7 kids running wild. Her voice didn't shake, her hands didn't stop moving as she slid a plate toward me. I took it, sat at the table, and ate in silence. She didn't ask why I looked tired, didn't ask anything. I kept seeing that truck in my head, the man in the cap, the way she'd stood there like it was nothing. I didn't sleep much, lying there next to her, the sock still in my pocket. Sunday, I went through the motions. Took the kids to the park in the morning, pushed the youngest, Ellie, on the swings while the others ran around. Fixed a flat tire on the van in the afternoon, the air thick with the smell of rubber and oil. Matilda moved around the house like she always did, cooking, folding laundry, yelling at the boys to pick up their toys. I watched her closer now. Her phone was face down on the counter when it used to sit upright. She'd step outside for calls, saying it was her sister or a friend from church, but she'd stay out there too long, her voice too low to carry through the screen door. I didn't ask about it. Didn't want her to know I was paying attention. That night, I checked the landline call log. Just the usual numbers, nothing strange. Her cell was locked, and I didn't have the code. Never needed it before. Monday, I called in sick to work. First time in years. Told Matilda I wasn't feeling right. Stayed in bed until she left to drop the kids at school. She didn't question it. Just said she'd be back in an hour and drove off. The second the van was out of sight, I got up, went through her side of the closet. Shirts, dresses, a couple pairs of shoes, all neat, nothing out of place. Checked her dresser, the bathroom cabinet, under the sink. I didn't know what I was looking for, notes, receipts, anything, but it was all clean, too clean like she'd made sure there was nothing to find. Then I went to the laundry room, dug through the hamper, past the kids' dirty socks and stained shirts, and found something at the bottom. A gray long-sleeved shirt, not mine. Smelled like cologne I don't wear. I held it up, stared at it, felt that weight in my chest harden. I put the shirt back where it was, covered it with the kids' clothes, and sat in the garage until she got home. She walked in, didn't notice anything different, asked if I wanted soup. I said no, I'd be fine by tomorrow. She nodded, started unloading groceries she said she'd picked up. I stayed out of work the rest of the week, kept calling in sick, kept watching her. That truck didn't show up again, but I knew it wasn't over. Started driving by the house at odd hours, lunchtime, mid-afternoon, parking down the street, walking back to check. Wednesday, I saw her leave after the kids were at school, driving the van. I followed, kept 2 cars between us. She went to a coffee shop 10 miles out, sat down with a man I hadn't seen before. Not the one from Saturday. This one was thinner, older, wore glasses and a gray jacket. They talked for an hour. I watched from across the street, snapped a picture on my phone, drove home before she did. She got back 30 minutes later, walked in with a bag of bread and milk, said she'd run errands. I was in the garage again, messing with an old carburetor, and nodded like I believed her. That night, I lay awake again, thinking about the 2 men. The one in the cap, broad and tall, and this new one, quiet and lean. 2 in less than a week. I didn't know who they were, didn't know how long it had been going on, but I knew it wasn't nothing. Friday came, and I kept up the act of being sick. Matilda didn't push me to go to work, just went about her day, dropping the kids at school, cleaning the kitchen, folding more laundry. I stayed in the garage most of the morning, pretending to sort tools, but I was listening. She took a call outside again, stood by the back porch for 15 minutes, her voice a murmur. I couldn't hear the words, just the tone, soft, careful, not like when she talks to her sister. When she came back in, I asked who it was. She said a friend from church needed advice about something. I nodded, didn't press. She didn't look at me long enough to see if I believed her. That afternoon, I drove by the house again. Parked 2 blocks away, walked back, stood behind the neighbor's fence this time. At 1:30, the black Ford truck pulled up, same dented tailgate, same plate, JHK 4923. The man in the cap got out, knocked, and Matilda let him in. I watched the door close, counted the minutes. 2 hours this time. The kids weren't home, still at school, so it was just them. He left at 3:30, drove off fast. I didn't follow him. Went back to my car, sat there until she'd expect me home, then walked in like nothing happened. She was cooking dinner, didn't say much. I didn't either. The weight in my chest was solid now, like a stone I couldn't shift. Saturday, I told her I'd be at the shop again, another late job. She said okay, same as last time. I left, parked down the street, waited. No truck that day, but she left the house at noon, drove the van. I followed. She went to the same coffee shop, met the man with glasses again. They sat in the corner, heads close, talking low. I stayed outside, took more pictures, her leaning forward, him touching her hand once. They stayed an hour, then she left. I tailed her home, kept my distance. She walked in with nothing. No bags, no excuse this time. I went to the shop, sat in the break room, thought about those two men, the sock, the shirt, the calls. Sunday, I checked the hamper again. Nothing new, just kids' clothes. I started looking harder, under the mattress, in her purse when she was in the shower, behind the books on the shelf. Found a receipt in her coat pocket. Coffee shop, 2 drinks, dated Wednesday. Same day I'd seen her there. I kept it tucked in my wallet with the sock. That night, Ellie asked why Mommy was always on the phone. Matilda laughed, said it was just grown-up stuff. I didn't laugh. Watch her instead, the way she brushed it off too quick. Monday, I called a guy I know from the shop. Rick, who's good with cars and plates. Gave him JHK 4923, asked him to check it. He said he'd get back to me. I didn't tell him why. Tuesday, I followed her again. She dropped the kids off, went straight to a park 15 miles out. The man with glasses was there, waiting by a bench. They sat together, talked, walked a loop around the pond. No touching this time, but they were close, too close. I stayed in my truck, watched through the windshield, took more pictures. She left after 40 minutes, drove home. I went back to the garage, waited for Rick's call. He rang that night. Plate belonged to a guy named Mark Hensley, lives 20 miles away, works construction. I thanked him, hung up, sat in the dark thinking about Mark Hensley and the man with glasses, 2 different faces in her life I didn't know. Wednesday, I didn't go to work again. Told Matilda I was still off, stayed in the garage while she took the kids to school. Rick's call stuck with me. Mark Hensley, construction guy, black Ford truck. I looked him up on my phone, found a work profile online. Tall, broad, matched the man in the cap. No picture of the glasses guy yet, but I knew he was someone else. Matilda got back at 9, started cleaning. I waited till she was vacuuming, went through her purse again. Found a folded note, handwritten, no name, just meet me Friday, same place, one. I put it back, kept it in my head. Thursday, the truck came again. I was behind the shed, saw it pull up at noon. Mark Hensley knocked, Matilda let him in. 2 hours again. I took pictures, him arriving, him leaving. Checked the time, 2:15 when he drove off. I went to the coffee shop after, sat in the lot, waited. The man with glasses showed up at 3, alone this time. He sat inside, checked his phone, left after 20 minutes. I followed him, gray sedan, plate TLM, 8172. He drove to an office building downtown, went in. I parked, waited an hour. He came out, drove home to a house 10 miles from ours. I wrote down the address, didn't know his name yet. Friday, I followed her to the park again. She met the glasses guy. Same bench, same walk. I stayed back, watched. They talked longer this time, an hour, then she left. I tailed him instead back to the office. Looked up the building online. Law firm, bunch of names listed. One stuck out. James Carter, attorney. Picture matched, thin, older glasses. 2 men now, Mark Hensley and James Carter. I had names, faces, proof piling up. That night, I checked her phone when she was asleep. Still locked, but I saw a text flash on the screen. James, see you soon. I put it down, didn't wake her. Saturday, I stayed home, watched her closer. She was jumpy, kept checking her phone, stepping outside for calls. I asked who it was once. She said her sister, same excuse. I nodded, let it go. Sunday, I found a key in her jacket pocket, small, not ours. Didn't know what it opened, kept it in my wallet with the sock and receipt. Monday, Rick called again, ran the sedan's plate, confirmed James Carter, lawyer, married, no kids. I thanked him, started planning. Didn't know what yet, just knew I needed more. Tuesday, I followed James Carter from his office. He went to the park again, waited, but Matilda didn't show. He left after 30 minutes, drove home. I stayed on him, watched his house. His wife came out, short, blonde, carried groceries in. I took pictures, noted the time. Wednesday, Mark Hensley's truck was back. I hid behind a fence, saw him go in, stay 2 hours. Matilda looked tired when he left, didn't smile. I followed him this time, construction site 15 miles out. He worked late, drove home to a trailer park. Single, no family listed online. I had enough now, Pictures, plates, addresses, the key, the note. Thursday, I went to a lawyer. Not James Carter, a guy I found online, Tom Bradley. Showed him everything. Photos of Mark at the house, James at the coffee shop and park, the sock, the shirt I'd kept after finding it again, the receipt, the key, the note. Told him about the kids, the house, 16 years. He said I had a strong case. Divorce, full custody, the works. Adultery was clear, evidence solid. I nodded, said I'd think about it. Didn't tell him I wasn't done. Friday, I followed Matilda to the coffee shop. James was there, they talked, laughed. I recorded it from my truck. 10 minutes of them. Clear audio through the cracked window. She touched his arm, he smiled. I saved it, drove home. Saturday, I stayed quiet. She noticed, asked if I was okay. I said, yeah, just tired. She didn't push. Sunday, I took the kids to the park, watched them play, thought about what was coming. Monday, I met Tom again, signed papers, divorce, custody, house, all of it. Told him to hold off filing, needed one more thing. Tuesday, I went to James Carter's office, waited till he left, slipped a note under his door, pictures of him and Matilda. Your wife might like these. No signature. Wednesday, I drove to Mark Hensley's trailer, left the same, photos of him at my house. Boss might want to know. Kept it anonymous. Thursday, I watched it unravel. James called her, I saw his name on her phone, heard her whisper outside, voice sharp. She came in pale, hands shaky. Mark's truck didn't show up. Friday, she was on edge, snapped at the kids, kept checking her phone. I acted normal, asked how her day was. She said fine, voice tight. I knew they'd gotten the notes, knew it was working. Saturday, I took the kids to my sister's, said I needed a day to fix the van. Matilda didn't argue, just nodded, looked distracted. I went to Tom instead, told him to file everything. Showed him the recording, the final nail. He said it'd take a week, but it was airtight. I drove home, waited. Sunday, she was quiet, barely left the bedroom. I heard her on the phone, arguing, voice low. Didn't catch who didn't need to. Monday, James's wife called our landline, screaming, asking for Matilda. I said she was out, hung up. Mark stayed away. Tuesday, the papers came. I handed them to her after the kids were in bed. She stared at them, divorce, custody, house all mine. I told her I knew everything. Mark, James, the lies, the years of it. She didn't deny it, didn't cry, just sat there, eyes blank. I said I was taking the kids, the house, everything she thought was hers. Wednesday, I packed their stuff, clothes, toys, school books, loaded it into the van, moved them to my sister's. Matilda stayed behind, didn't fight, just watched me go. Thursday, I got a call from Tom. Court date set, evidence filed. James's wife had left him, served her own papers after getting my note. Mark got fired. Boss didn't like the photos, called him a liability. Friday, I went back to the house. Matilda was gone, left a note. I'm sorry. Didn't say where she went. I didn't care. Saturday, I changed the locks, sold her jewelry. Rings, necklaces, earrings she'd worn for years. Sold her clothes, her shoes, anything she'd left. Got $600, used it to buy the kids new beds at my sister's place. Sunday, I sat them down, told them Mommy wasn't coming back, that we'd be okay. They nodded, didn't ask much. Monday, the court ruled. Full custody, house in my name, her out. She didn't show up to fight it. But I wasn't done. Tuesday, I dug deeper. That key from her jacket, I took it to a locksmith. He said it fit a storage unit, common type. I drove to every facility within 20 miles, tested it. Third place, it clicked, Unit 17, rented under her name. Inside, I found boxes, letters from James, clothes that smelled like Mark's cologne, photos of them together, cash $2,000, hidden in a shoebox. I took it all, photographed it, sent copies to Tom. Wednesday, I mailed the letters and photos to James's wife. Her name was Linda. Found it online. Added a note. He's all yours now. Sent the clothes to Mark's trailer with a message. Keep your trash. Thursday, I went to the bank, found a joint account she'd kept secret. $5,000, siphoned over years. Showed Tom the evidence. Got it frozen, filed to claim it. Friday, I heard from Rick. Mark's truck was repossessed, couldn't pay after losing his job. James's firm dropped him, reputation shot after Linda spread the photos. Matilda called once, Saturday, from a number I didn't know. I picked up, heard her voice, small, broken, asking to see the kids. I said no, hung up. Sunday, I took the cash from a unit, bought the kids new clothes, a TV for my sister's place, put the rest in a trust for them. Monday, I sold the house, didn't need it anymore, moved us into a rental closer to their school. Matilda was gone, Mark was broke, James was ruined. The weight was gone, and I slept that night, first time in months.